Friday Night Live, we're talking Pogba wants to leave, Pochettino wants to come in, also Mourinho marginalising Fred. Some very good line from Bruno Fernandes, and a lot more as well. I hope you're all doing well. I just want to start off with something actually a little bit late for a very particular reason, and I definitely want to get this message across at the start of the video. I got a message from somebody's mum this evening called Lisa, whose son he's having problems at school in relation to bullying, and he's feeling a little bit down. And I said, well, I'm going to mention something on the United Stand tonight because I know he watches it with his dad, and I know our live comments and communities brilliant, and I think when you're feeling a little bit down, being able to look at the live comments and get a bit of support will be a nice feeling, because bullying's not very nice. And I'll tell you a little story. When I was about 12 years old, I'd just gone to secondary school, and I used to get bullied, and I got bullied by girls, and I'm sure a lot of people in the live comments will laugh about that, but when you're brought up as somebody who's not allowed to hit girls and girls are hitting you, it's a very one-sided battle, and I got very depressed, and I took a couple of days off school. I wouldn't talk to anybody. My mum found out what it was. She went on the school bus, and needless to say, the girls never did it again. But you've got support, you've told people about it, and you'll be fine. You're not the victim as a bully. The bullies are the victims, and they will get sorted out. So chin up. It's Friday. Manchester Derby at the weekend. Let's have a good show. So let's get on with it. Pogba wants to leave. Pochettino wants to come in. I'm going to start off with what potentially could be quite a positive story here. And that is that Pochettino is quite close to Guillem Balaguer. Now, Guillem Balaguer gets a lot of stick on this channel, and he gets a lot of stick from United fans, and but he has worked closely with Pochettino. He's written a book with him, and he's written an article basically saying that Pochettino is ready to come back into management. He's recharged his batteries, and he wants to get back into management, and Manchester United has again been mentioned as a job for Pochettino. We'll talk about Pogba in a minute, but in relation to Pochettino, it just reminded me. I'm definitely, you know where I stand or sit at the moment. I'm like, well, let's just see what happens in May. I think this is the mistake United made a year ago. As I said, tonight is the night. It's a year tonight that we beat PSG with that Rashford penalty, and because of that, we gave Ollie the job, didn't we? We should have waited till May. And I think right now, if Ed Woodward sat there going, yay, we beat Chelsea, Ollie's here till next year. No. Just wait till May. I think we've all got to just wait till May. But the interesting thing is, have no doubts about this, Pochettino wants the United job. And we should be quite proud about that. You know, I think only a few months ago, many of you lot were saying, why would Pochettino want the United job? So it just shows you that how things have changed. And you know, now we've got Bruno Fernandes. He'll definitely want the United job. So Pochettino wants the United job. And as a bare minimum, Ed Woodward and co have got a decision to make. What a very big decision as well, because it could be a very difficult decision. If we don't get top four and we go back to playing what we were like before Christmas, it's a very easy decision. Off you go, Ollie, in you come Poch. But if we do manage to get top four and we keep Ollie and you miss Pochettino and you never get him again, people will look back on it again. So, or what if you're in a middle ground? What if you finish fifth and because of Man City you get Champions League football? Do you stick with Ollie or do you go with Pochettino? So it is interesting, and I think it's always a reminder. It's certainly not, we're not taking a walk down negativity street. It's Manchester Derby weekend. I and many others are just like, you know, this manager talk will take care of itself in May. And let's not forget, Pochettino doesn't want the job now. He wants it in May anyway. But it is interesting to say that Manchester United do have a decision to make here. Here is a manager, and there's probably more than Pochettino, but here is a manager that wants the Manchester United job, that is openly flirting with the Manchester United job, and has a good pedigree as a Premier League manager, not only at Spurs, but at Southampton as well, as a rebuilder. And United maybe do need that. So United have got a decision to make, and they've got to make this right. And the interesting thing is, Woodward's a very arrogant man. We know that, and you do need arrogant in business. And Manchester United continually talk about the future vision, and we're going to get it right this time. Well, I tell you what, you better be absolutely 100% right that if you stick with Ollie and his plan, you get it right. Because all this reset button that you want to do, we're getting the signings right this time. It's the same people who's been in charge of the signings and the running of the club for 6 years. The medical staff, the scouting, the recruitment, the coaching, everything they're going to get right this time, they've got wrong for 6 years. So the decision they make in May, whether it's thanks or no thanks to Pochettino, they better make sure they get it right. As fans, I don't care if one of you lot in the live comments are saying Ollie in, and then in May you're like, or June, we should have got Poch. You're a fan. You're a football fan. You live on passion. You don't live on a massive paycheck like Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward's not a Manchester United fan. He's a Manchester United fan because he's paid to be. He wasn't a Manchester United fan. The Glazers aren't Manchester United fans. They're businessmen. They've got to make a sound business decision in May. I've got no problem with a United fan that's saying Poch now and then in 2 months is saying Ollie, because that's how you are as a football fan. You will have your opinion changed by passion. But they have got to get the business decision right. Hey Mark, did you know it's actually pronounced Fernandes? Portuguese, not Fernandez, says Kush. Not bothered. It's never bothered me, that sort of stuff. Raban, Cross. I say it how I want to say it, really. Unless they ring me up and say, can you speak properly? I'll just do it like that. Amilimons says, let Pogba go. So let's talk about Pogba. But Samuel Haponan says, Poch won't rebuild anything with this board. And Ollie out, Poch in, says Ashley Young. I wonder if it's the real one. Ollie is director of football, Poch is United manager. No! I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It's such a cop-out to say that. And I welcome Poch with open arms, says Dinky Dinky Dinky. Something we don't do is subtle or respect to managers. Reevaluate in May and respect the man that's in with whether he's good enough or not, says Michael Lickley. High five, Michael. I think that's exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, we can discuss, because it's in the news, what Balagay's saying, basically putting Pochettino back into people's minds. You know, I understand that, but I think it's very important for us, Manchester United, at this moment in time, to just stick with what we've got till May. And it'll be another roller coaster between now and May. We know it will. We'll probably get some good results. We'll probably beat City and Spurs again, and everyone will say he's back at the wheel. And then we'll probably go and lose a couple of games. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But look, Pogba wants out, narrative old, says the Equaliser. And actually, you know what? You are right. You're absolutely right here. Because I did a video 2 or 3 nights ago. Because obviously, in relation to Pogba, I have been told stuff 2 or 3 times now. Last summer, he's not leaving. Before January, he's not leaving. And then this week, I think it was Monday, I was told Manchester United don't want to sell Paul Pogba and they'll do everything they can to try and keep him at the club. But this story coming out from Tutto Sport that basically Pogba's very, very excited by the signing of Bruno Fernandes and he's looking forward to playing with him, but he still wants to leave in the summer. He's right. It is an old narrative because everybody knows this. I said this on Tuesday night or whatever night it was. That was the story. What Tutto Sport are talking about is just regurgitation of a situation we all know. Manchester United are banking on the fact that when Paul Pogba comes back fit and plays with this United team and it gets better and it plays well, that Paul Pogba will think, you know what, maybe my future is here, and he'll sign a new contract. That's what United are hoping for. The situation right now is Pogba wants to leave. Everybody knows that. He does want to leave. Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United. Nothing's changed. His agent has been leaking it out. Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United. He wants out. So Tutto Sport saying he wants out, whatever, la la la. It's not a shock. It is not a shock to us Manchester United fans at all. But United are hoping that when he comes back, there will be a change of opinion with Pogba. So this story is 100% accurate. Pogba does want to leave, and there's probably 1 or 2 other United players that want to leave that it's not publicly being let out. I actually think that Jesse Lingard wants to leave Manchester United, and I think it's very obvious that he wants to leave Manchester United. And I don't think it's anything to do with the vile abuse he got last night. I think it's to do with the fact that he's now got Mino Raiola as his agent. And Mino Raiola is not an agent that goes, I'll be your agent, let's sort out a new contract. Unless it's a massive new contract, which Manchester United are not going to give him. This is about getting Jesse Lingard a move and getting a slice of that pie for Mino Raiola. That's what's going to happen there. And I think there's probably 1 or 2 other players that want to move from United. So look, Pogba wanting to leave United, it's not ideal. It's just Pogba's always the headline, isn't he? But this doesn't change what I said a few nights ago. United's situation doesn't change either. They want Paul Pogba to stay. They fully accept that he wants to go at the moment, and they are hoping that when he gets back into the first team, he will change his mind. George Ramos says, hi Mark, hope you're all good, always, respect you. Would you mind if Pogba stays at Man United and we get a few players in? I hope Ollie succeeds, come on United. You know what, George, I'm probably one of those people that can differentiate my personal feeling towards a player and their personality and what they do on the football pitch. Paul Pogba, to me, I don't really know what he's like as an individual. We've seen in the past that Wayne Rooney did things off the pitch that were undesirable. Ryan Giggs did. There was others. But they delivered on the pitch, and that's all. I don't want to be their best mate. I don't want to go down the pub with them. I'm not interested in that. I want them to play well for Manchester United. So if Paul Pogba changes his mind and says I want to stay here and performs in a United shirt, I don't see what the problem is. I would like Paul Pogba to stay. With regards to Solskjaer, I don't like sitting on the fence, but I don't actually think I'm in a mindset. I don't know where you are at the moment, because let's be honest. I mean, I can't hide from it. I've stuck by Ollie a lot. After the Burnley game, I was like, he's done. He's done, and I'm still of that opinion that he's done. But I'm not Ollie out like sack him now. I really do believe you've got to give him till May. What I would say is I think the best thing for United is that Solskjaer is successful, because it's the most stable. I mean, even Rashford was talking about this week. He said when you change a manager, it's a massive change for everybody, and you've got to readjust to it. So do we need another big massive change? I think only if we need it do we do it. So we'll wait and see what happens in May. I don't really know what I want, and I think that Manchester United Football Club are to blame for this, not me, not you. Manchester United Football Club have inflicted a very short-termism on us football fans. I can't look long-term, and I certainly can't look long-term this season, because it's been the worst season. I don't think there's been a season as bad as this, other than Van Gaal's last one. It's been appalling. And I just don't know where it's going to go next. I don't. So I just take it game to game. I'm enjoying the results at the moment. I'm really enjoying Bruno Fernandes, and we'll just see where we are, but reevaluate it in May. I'm still unconvinced that all the good run-in is from Ollie and not Bruno. Pogba might be good with Bruno, says Jay Kellogg's. And thanks for the contribution there. Josh Bowater says, in a one-off game, how do you think our 08 double winning side would do in a game against the Liverpool side? We'd probably beat it, Josh. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. And thank you for the contribution, Aditi Aliavila. I don't care what anybody says. This Liverpool team is very, very good. But this Premier League is very, very bad. And I said this on the preview. If you've not seen the Man City preview, it's on the channel. And some interesting topic points in there. But this is a really big weekend for Manchester United. Arsenal play West Ham tomorrow at home. If they win that, I think they're a point behind us. Spurs are Burnley, they can go above us. Wolves are home to Norwich, they can go above us. Chelsea home to Everton, they can stretch their lead. We've got the hardest game this weekend, and we almost need a catalogue of bad results, because Spurs next week I think we can win, but if we don't win this weekend, we're going to lose ground again. So it's a very, very big win in the top four race. We could do with Everton getting something at Chelsea like they did against us last week. We could do with West Ham getting something at Arsenal. We could do with Burnley getting something at Spurs. And we could do with Wolves not getting something against Norwich. But Wolves have had a whole week off, haven't they? We haven't. So they'll be re-energised. I mean, look, all those results could happen. I think it's going to be that sort of a season. But it goes back to that point there. This has been a ridiculously bad season below Liverpool. And even Man City I don't think are that good. I don't know whether anybody watched my combined 11 on That's Football, but you know, check out the defence. Man City don't get many people in. They really, really don't. So you just don't know what to expect from Manchester United this season. And to be honest, I don't always sympathise with the board of Manchester United. But if you were Ed Woodward right now, what would you do? I put it to you. What would you do? I don't think I think we're all, as is our right, this is what a football fan does. You do have a moan. You do criticise when things aren't going the way you want. But put yourself, forget the last 6 years, put yourself into Ed Woodward's shoes right now. You know you've got to be, you can't wait till May to plan to sign players. So you've got to be looking to sign players now. What are you signing players for? Are you signing them for Ollie and you're doing it with conviction? Or are you doing it and thinking, well, Poch will be happy with these? Or are you already thinking these are Poch players? Or are you all in with Ollie? What's your mindset at the moment? And what was your mindset in January when we weren't very good? Or in November? I mean, have you always just been stick with Ollie, that's the plan, or have you veered off? Have you had chats with Pochettino, as we know has happened? It is difficult, and I think that's why you've got to take it short term. You've got to almost go, look, there isn't a consistent theme here at the moment. If we have our worst Premier League season, but we get top four, what do I do then? If we have our worst ever Premier League season, we don't get top four, it's a bit obvious what I've got to do. But is that going to happen? We're starting to pick up points. Before Bruno was here, we were averaging 1.4 points per game. Since Bruno's come in, we've won 2, drawn 2 in the Premier League, as far as I remember. So that's 8 points from 4 games. We're averaging 2 points a game, which is way better than 1.4. So it's gone up. So If that continues, 2 points a game, we've got 10 games to go. That's 20 points. That's 62 points. That'll get us fourth. I mean, it's a very low. It's normally 72, but I think 62 points could get you fourth place. And it would still be our worst ever Premier League season. So it's mad. It's really hard to gauge. And I think that actually, in fairness to Woodward and co., they're not really football people, so they probably don't think about it as deep as we do. But if you get top four with 62 points, which is 2 less than Moyes' worst ever Premier League season, which is our worst ever, but you get top four, it's quite difficult if you're not a football person to make a decision, because if we all what's really done United in this season, if we're all honest, it's the fact that Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal have all been crap as well. If just 2 of those teams had been as good as normal, top 4 would be gone. Chelsea would have another 6 points. Arsenal would be 10 points ahead of us as well. Top 4 would already be gone, and Woodward would be already making his plans. But because everyone else is as bad as we are, as I said, we're going to see a record points total for top 4, but a record low point total. You know, the average points total to get fourth place is around 72. It will be around 62. That's a 10-point drop. And it's unprecedented because everybody's been bad. Everybody's been bad. Really like Pogba, but don't see where he fits into the side. Fred is in form and Fernandes is the creator. We wanted Paul Pogba to sell and buy Sancho, says Jonathan Nesbitt. And Michael Maystars, more than anything, I want to stick with one manager and let them build their squad. If that's Ollie, okay, but if not, we need to appoint the right guy. It's interesting on that point about Pogba as well, because a lot of people are starting to cotton on to this. If Pogba doesn't go, where does the money come from to buy other players, considering the last 2 summer transfer windows, the net spend has been around 70 million? Well, where are we going to get the... We've just spent 40 million, 50 million on Bruno. Was that the summer budget? We know that Bruno was a summer signing, or... So does that mean that that money is from the summer? In which case we've got no money unless we sell. So if we keep Pogba, where does the money come from? Especially if we don't get Champions League football and there's a massive drop-off in sponsorship. And these are all relevant concerns that fans are actually talking about. Everyone's like, oh, keep Pogba, buy Sancho. Even I've said that. But where does the money come from when you look at the evidence of the last couple of years and you know that the Bruno signing was brought forward because of injuries to Pogba and McTominay? Is there any money left? And you start to look at it and you go, look, I can probably raise 50 million from, if Pogba stays, by selling Lingard and Smalling. Smalling will go for about 25. Lingard goes for about 25. That's 50 million. Anybody else we can move on? Maybe get rid of Pereira, 15 million. Tops, 65. You're not going to get anything for Matic. If they go, you know, you're struggling, aren't you? Gomez is going for bloody free. So yeah, I do see that the Pogba deal isn't just about keeping Pogba as well. It's about raising the money to buy other players, which may be our problem in the summer. Trent Singh says, Mark, our fans in social media talk about the treble season a lot. Rashford yesterday retweeted a win against PSG. Are we living in the past too much? Memories FC. I said that today. I actually retweeted my reaction to the PSG goal because it made me laugh. I'd forgotten about it. It's the wedding night Dick one, and I don't know where that even came from. But yeah, I mean, look, somebody said to me, it's funny how you're celebrating the anniversary of a first knockout stage win over PSG, where you basically got very lucky, and then you got smashed by Barcelona in the quarterfinals, and. I was like, yeah, memories FC really, isn't it? And to be honest with you, that PSG one can go swim. I ain't interested in that really. It was a brilliant night. I don't know why we're celebrating it a year on. You know now I think about it, Trent. Why are we celebrating beating PSG a year ago? It was the first knockout stage of the Champions League. Since when do we celebrate that? And I know the emotion of the night was fantastic, but that was that night. It's not something to celebrate year on year. It was the first knockout stage, and it's right. But that's how low the expectations are. We should be remembering trebles and stuff like that. But even then, you're still memories FC. We've got to sort of move on from that. And I know why Marcus Rashford did it. He's bored. He's reading books. He's doing all sorts because he wants to play football. So he's just keeping himself active on social media. I get it. But actually, the mindset needs to be a little bit better. And I got a little bit of criticism for this the other day because Harry Maguire put out a picture, I think, on his Instagram, or someone put out a picture of man of the match, and I was like, it was right after the game, and I was pissed off. I was like, we should have won that game. We should have been trying to win that game. We shouldn't be celebrating a point. And then, very interestingly, my man Bruno, there's a story in the Times today that some Manchester United players were very happy with the point against Everton, and Bruno Fernandes was apparently in the dressing room telling them off, saying we shouldn't be happy about that. We should be trying to win that game. We should be winning it. And this is the mentality that you get with Bruno Fernandes. And look, it's not really a criticism of the players who are happy with a point. They don't know anything else. Some of these players have never won a title. They don't know what a title race is about. They don't know why a point at Everton isn't a bad result, because they're not experienced. But Bruno is a winner, and he wants that mentality, which I think is fantastic. Joseph Harvey, if we'd have loaned Jones instead of Smalling and signed Fernandes in the summer, do you think that would be way better off at the moment? I don't think Phil Jones actually makes much of a difference, to be honest, Joseph. But I do think if we'd got Bruno Fernandes in the summer... I mean, I've already just said that, haven't I? Up until Bruno came into the team, we were averaging 1.4 points per game. 1.4. That's not very good. That means over 10 games, you've got 14 points. We're now averaging 2, which over 10 games means 20 points, which is a 6-point difference over 10 points, which is quite considerable. So you change that over the season. If you think for every 10 games... we'd have had another 6 points. How many games had we played when we signed Bruno Fernandes? About 23, 24, maybe 25. So that would have been another, on average, what did I say, 6, 12, 13, 14 more points if we'd had Bruno at the start of the season on that stat. So, yeah, we should have signed him in the summer. It was total incompetence not to. Do you think it's an issue that Poch doesn't play wide, says Yanni to Triple A? I do. I definitely do. Look, you're talking to somebody here who I'm not Poch in. I've never been Poch in. Even when Ollie looked like he was going to get himself sacked, I wasn't like Poch in. I'm not Poch in. I don't argue with the fact that Poch is a better coach than Ollie, but I also have my eyes wide open that if we did go with Pochettino, there might be some problems. He doesn't really play with width. I hated that formation last week, that diamond crap. I didn't like it. There was no natural width. It just didn't work. And that's the way Poch plays. He likes lots of midfielders and not width. So I don't like the idea of that. I've got to be honest. But I do think that we're in that... Look, if Ollie stays or we bring a new manager in, I've said it once, so I'll say it again, we're in an uncertain world now. We blew it. We blew it. Manchester United, Ed Woodward, the Glazers blew it. When we got David Moyes, we were champions. When we sacked David Moyes, we brought Van Gaal in and we thought he could make us champions. When we sacked Van Gaal, we brought Mourinho in and we definitely thought he'd make us champions. When we sacked Mourinho and we brought Ollie in, we thought Ollie's at the wheel. Look at his first 3 months. He'll make us champions. A year on, we're like, he might not even make it till May. I think what's happened now is the next manager will not come in with very many expectations. And that's sad because even Ollie, we had high expectations because of those 3 months. So I think the next manager, whoever it is, I'm just not going to have any expectations because I think they've messed it up over the last 6 years. They've tried lots of different things, none of which worked. Some because they didn't support them, some because they were the wrong coach. We'll see. But it is a May decision, it really is. Can I ask, I don't know Stephen Jones, I don't know the answer to that. Rooney will be the next manager, I'm calling it, says Capilan S. Oh, well, you know what, that would be quite nice because I think that what Gerrard's done and what Lampard did, Gerrard at Rangers, Lampard at Derby, ex-legends of their club, gone off and done difficult things. Now, Rooney's still a player manager at Derby, but if he takes on the role and does well as a manager, then there you may have a manager of Manchester United. And why wouldn't Wayne Rooney be a Manchester United manager? I think that, why not? Why couldn't he do the job? I'm very surprised that Rooney's going into management, by the way, because he never struck me as a very intelligent guy. But football intelligence, very intelligent, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Should never got rid of Mourinho. Best manager you can have these days, says Mr. DW Gamer. Can tell it's Friday night. It's getting to the stage where I honestly just feel sorry for Lingard, says Kian Quinn. Yeah, you know what? I think that I spoke about it this morning on the preview, if you want to get my reaction to the whole Lingard thing, but it just gets very toxic. And to be honest with you, I get to the point where I can't really be asked to say anything about it because obviously, if somebody goes and films themselves swear at somebody, it's disgusting behaviour. But then you get people saying, well, the fan channels drive all this. And that's where I just clock out. I think, well, you know, for one, you're not dealing with the issue. Lingard was verbally abused to his face, vile, public order. Those people should be arrested. You can't speak to people like that. If someone comes into your workplace and F's and blinds at your face, it's a disgrace. They should be arrested. That's what happens, right? Okay? The minute people start blaming people for it, you're just as bad as the people holding the phone up. Like, if we're going to be sympathetic to the situation, stop attacking other people for it. And also, if you're going to attack other people for it, do it with some sort of logic. Like, I would never, ever, ever stand in front of a player and swear that in front of their face. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I can watch a match. I can be in a ground, you can be in a ground, you can be in your living room, and somebody does something and you can go, oh, piss off Lingard, that's absolutely crap. Sub him, he's useless. As I said, Flex spoke to Jesse Lingard in Bruges about the situation, and Luke Shaw said the same, and Luke Shaw said it publicly. We accept the criticism of the fans when we don't play well. That's par for the course. The difficult thing is the abuse in your private life, and that is the line. Abuse in your private life is absolutely disgusting. Criticism and abuse for the way you play in the heat of the moment, social media or anything like that, that's par for the course. It is par for the course. Like, when I was doing the United stand a couple of years ago, and still a little bit now, I get all sorts of stuff said about my kids, about me, nonce, this, that and the other. It's just par for the course. If you're in the public eye, you're going to get it. But that is, it's illegal what they were doing last night. It's disgusting what they did last night. And I don't change my opinion. Look, I'm not gonna be one of these people who pretends their fart don't smell. I had somebody today telling me that, oh, you're part of the problem with Jesse Lingard. What? Because he's crap. Why is it my fault? Like, I'm absolutely not scared to say Lingard was crap last night, and I would say it to his face, because he was crap last night. But I am never, ever going to condone somebody giving him verbal abuse and effing and swearing at him. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I think people don't see the line there. They immediately go into this faux shock horror situation where, oh, I just feel sorry for him. People shouldn't be saying he's crap. Well, they should. It's an entertainment business. They're paid a lot of money to be footballers. They should be saying they're crap if they're crap, but they should never be doing the abuse. That is the line. But people don't understand the line. They blur the line and they go, oh, all these fans who have their say on the fan cams, it's their fault. Nobody tells people how to think. That's a cop-out. Nobody tells people how to think. I always say on this show, this channel is about fan opinion. I love it when people don't agree with me because it's making them think for themselves. I think this channel does great things because it allows people to listen and then go, I don't agree with that, I think this. And I think this promotes different opinions. I don't think it dictates opinions. And if it ever does, why are you listening to me or anybody else? Have your own voice. That's how it works. But look, to be honest with you, there is another side to the coin as well. When I used to get taken to the football when I was younger, and you know, even in my early teens when people like Ryan Giggs were playing, and I spoke to Ryan Giggs about this when we had the Ryan Giggs event, and he was laughing. Ryan Giggs used to get swore at by fans. People won't accept this, and some of you be too young to remember it or not even born. Ryan Giggs used to get absolute pelters at Old Trafford, and people don't understand it because he's a legend. But people who were at those games then do remember it, and others used to get it as well, because this is a football crowd. And the football crowd has changed for the better, to be honest, because it's become more family and orientated. But football fans have always been swearing, abusive people. And I remember people shouting stuff at our own players. Lay down and die, you shit, this, that and the other. In the ground. It's always been part of it. And it's great that that sort of thing is now being cut out. But you think back to the end of the season, last season, there was somebody in the Stretford end being filmed shouting the same abuse that Lingard got last night at Paul Pogba in the ground as they're coming off. So it's not new. Jesse Lingard is a victim, but he's not new. And with the Pogba thing, actually, the good thing with Lingard is that most people actually think it's disgusting. With the Pogba one, I remember talking about it on this show. With the Pogba one, there was a lot of people saying, yeah, well, he does deserve it. He's shit. So, you know, we are somewhat hypocritical sometimes as well with this. And I do think the lines get blurred, but ultimately, you can't go up to somebody. You cannot go up to somebody and swear like that. I don't care who it is. You can't do it. It's illegal. You can't speak to people like that. You shouldn't be allowed to speak to people like that. It's disgusting. I'm 100% Poch in, says Nick P. If he doesn't play with width, who gives a damn? Let's see new rules, sick of traditions, and history dictating how we operate. Well, that's a refreshing point, Nick P. It is a refreshing point. But for me, I'm a traditionalist, and I like to see United playing with width. Eyes are planets says, what happens if Poch comes in and performs the same, plus board doesn't change? Do we just keep cycling through managers until we get lucky? Says Eyes are planets. Well, I think it's very interesting, and just talking about the United crowd here for a moment, I don't have the answers to this, but do you not think it's a little bit funny, and I'm being ironic, that we're beating Norwich 4-0 in January, and people start singing songs about the Glazers and Ed Woodward? Those songs have never been sung again. Why? Can somebody tell me what's changed? We've signed a player. Surely we've got a little bit more of a backbone and depth than that. Surely we're not happy with the owners because of years of bad investments and bad decisions. Surely we don't stop singing songs and saying Glazers out just because we've signed a player. Surely we're not all that shallow. I don't know why it's all stopped. This is why I didn't get involved in. I had so many people messaging the United stand in the summer saying, why aren't you getting behind Glazers out? And I said, because, you know what, we'll sign a player and it will disappear. And it did. And the same thing happened in January. All this chanting, people disgustingly turning up at people's houses, which was bang out of order again. But, all of it stopped. Why is it all stopped? Ferguson getting rid of Pogba Young and him falling out with Jose and him letting his agent make stupid comments this season. He's a great player, but to me his attitude stinks, and Sir Alex Ferguson knew, says Muzzy Lyons. Muzzy, thanks for the contribution, but I've got to correct you here. There is a very big myth that gets perpetuated around Paul Pogba and Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson did not get rid of Paul Pogba. It's a myth. He didn't. I know maybe some of you don't know. I think a lot of you will be old enough to know because it's not that long ago. Sir Alex Ferguson did not get rid of Paul Pogba. He wanted him to stay. Paul Pogba was in a similar situation to Angel Gomez is now. We couldn't keep him. We were powerless. We'd let a contract run down again. And he just walked out. United couldn't get him to stay. Sir Alex Ferguson said that his agent was a snake or he was poisonous. Maybe he was. But Manchester United definitely wanted to keep Paul Pogba. So much so that around this time, so Pogba was already free to be talking to Juventus anyway, but we played Pogba. I think he played against someone like Stoke City. We beat them 3-0 if I remember. And he played, I think he came on for a half or he started the game. I can't remember that accurately. But he was absolutely brilliant. And a lot of us were like, wow, hopefully he'll stay because we've given him game time. And he still went. And he went to Juventus and he was great. So Sir Alex Ferguson did not want to get rid of Paul Pogba, not at all. They just didn't like the way the agent was dealing with it and they couldn't keep the player. If you could have 3 realistic signings in the summer, who would they be and why, says Joseph Harvey? Sancho, Grealish and Werner. Yeah, because we need a striker, we need a right winger and we need a midfielder. And for me, Grealish, Maddison, fine. I mean, the only other thing I might do is, the trouble is we need depth in the attack. So it's got to be a winger and an attacker. But we also need another midfielder. So for me, it would either be Sancho, Grealish, Partey, Sancho, Grealish, Werner. That's how I would go. Thank you for the contribution, Joseph. It's as if signing Bruno has bought the fans' silence, says Kian Quinn. I think it's something more sinister than that. I don't think it's just Bruno Fernandes. I think something else is going on. I do. I think we've seen the expansion of the Red Army singing section. There may have been discussions there. We'll give you more, or relocation or whatever it is. We'll give you that if you stop singing about that. I mean, that's cynical. I don't know, but I don't think it's just as simple, because if it's just Bruno Fernandes, we were beating Norwich 4-0 and they were chanting about Woodward and the Glazers. So the chants weren't about not winning. They weren't about not playing well. So a signing shouldn't be. Those chants were about the way the club's been run over the last decade and the last 6 years. Those chants were about where's the club heading. Bruno Fernandes hasn't changed that. Something's changed. I don't think it's to do with Bruno Fernandes. I don't know what it is to do with. I don't know why it stops. I really don't know. But it is all a bit it has gone very quiet. Standing area perhaps as JJB. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think people's opinions have changed in relation to the Glazers at all. But the vocal singing in the ground was a very powerful but small section in relation to the wider Manchester United fan base. I don't know what it is. I'm certainly not criticising the singing section at all. And it's not the singing section, it's the Red Army. They don't like to be called that. I think that our away support, and I've said it for many years, is the best in the world. Definitely the best in England. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think when they were singing about the Glazers, it was way more powerful than anything trending on Twitter. But it has stopped for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know. No matter what happens in the summer, he's here now, so let's play him and improve our chances of top 4, says Zero Blade 57 on Pogba. 100%. I did want to just talk about Fred for a moment as well, because there's some stories floating around in the Telegraph as well about how Mourinho had basically told Fred that he didn't have a future at the club. And I do find this somewhat odd, because I think there's probably a lot of truth in it, but did Mourinho not sign Fred? And Mourinho only had Fred for about 4 months. So I did actually think, is this not, Mourinho's doing badly at the moment, Fred's doing well at the moment. Is it not just an opportunistic article to say, oh, Jose told Fred that he was useless and he wasn't going to use him. Yet we'd only signed him 5 months before Mourinho was sacked. So I don't know. I don't know about that, but I mean, Fred's a funny player. I think that Fred's been brilliant this season. Fred's been number 1 in the United Stand chart for 3 weeks in a row. Saturday morning, United Stand chart show tomorrow morning. It's probably going to be the best one yet. Fred's in trouble. I'm not saying he's not number 1, but if you look at the last week he's had, it's been okay, but some people have had very good weeks. So check out the United Stand chart show tomorrow morning. It goes up at about 9 o'clock, I think. I love doing it. A lot of people like it. It's becoming a cult classic. The chart show every Saturday morning on the United Stand. We count down top 10 United players of the week, and it's done in a good way as well. It's not like a whole new number 10 every week. If you're number 1 one week, it doesn't mean you're not going to be in the top 10. You've got to drop down. Your last week's result does count for something. Anyway, you can watch that in the morning. When will Ollie get a Sir in front of his name, says Matt Life. I don't know. I think there's plenty of fans who'd like to have him to have it now. If Ollie wins the Europa, I think we should keep him. He did it with a depleted, injury-prone squad for most of the season. He wins Europa, we get a cup plus Champions League football. What do you think? Says John Parashatham. I think you're right, John. I think if he wins the Europa League, he will stay because of the Champions League. Yeah. I think if you win the FA Cup and you don't win the Europa League or you don't get top 4, you could get the sack. We saw that with Van Gaal. I think the Champions League is, this United board have exposed itself before. The Champions League is the be-all and end-all. So Ollie could win the FA Cup and get the sack, but if he wins the Europa League, he will stay in the position because of the Champions League. You're right. What I would say to be balanced, because I don't need to look at the live comments for this, because I know what the Ollie Outers will say is, you say he's done it with an injury-depleted squad. It's of his own doing. And it is, because look at the injuries this season. The major injuries have been Rashford and Pogba. Martial was out for a bit. McTominay was out for a bit. We've had a few niggles here and there. But we've had 2 major injuries, Rashford and Pogba. You should not be depleted by 2 major injuries. Look at Chelsea this season. They've had loads of injuries. Kante's been out for a long time. Loftus-Cheek's been out for most of the season. Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic. They've had loads and loads of injuries, but they've still had strength in depth, despite a transfer ban. United went into this season lightweight. Up front, we can't even play a front 3 against Man City because we haven't got one. With Dan James injured as well, we can't play 3 forwards. That's why we had Lingard off the left last night and Mata off the right. Because we've only got Agallo and Martial. We can only play in a big game 2 up front. We can't play the 3 because we haven't got any width. We went into this season with a front 3 of Martial, Rashford and James and no backup. No backup. I know there was backup because we know the backup because we know what Ollie said in the summer. These boys are ready. Greenwood, Chong and Gomez. He's never played Chong. He's never played Gomez really. Greenwood's been backup. So we went into the season lightweight and Ollie did that. Whether he wanted to or not, United did it. He's not been unlucky. They did it. And the midfield was the same. We knew we came into the season. We knew we came into this season Don't know what. Well, that's not the word I want to be getting wrong. We knew we came into this season like... I did a video the night before the season started and said, Paul Pogba's got United's season in his hand. What he does with it is up to him. If he downs tools and can't be arsed, we've made a mistake. If he does brilliant things, we were right to force him to stay. Ultimately, we were wrong. We should have sold him. But we did put all our eggs in basket with Pogba, and he's been injured for most of the season. So I don't feel sorry for us in relation to a depleted squad and injuries. I don't think it's an excuse. And I know it's been used. The club have used it as an excuse, but they inflicted it on themselves. You know, we were only talking about it a few minutes ago. Why didn't we buy Bruno in the summer? Exactly. Why didn't we buy a striker in the summer? Exactly. You know, the planning of this season's been a real letdown from the club. And let's not forget, you know, I have to keep saying it, we're on course for our worst ever Premier League point total. And you can't hide from that. You can't hide from that. I know we say Poch doesn't play wide, but maybe he couldn't because he wasn't getting the backing from Spurs to do so, says Christopher Liu. The interesting thing about Pochettino is I can't remember how he used to play at Southampton. Mainly because I don't watch Southampton that much. I didn't, anyway. Whether Pogba plays or not, he still gets paid. He doesn't care, says Foxy7674. I think people have too much of a downer on Paul Pogba. I do think he's a valuable player for United over these next few months, and I certainly want him to get back fit and playing. If he can be somehow involved for that Spurs game next week, because as I said, I think the City game is a bonus. I did want to ask. I didn't do this on the preview. What's everybody's thoughts about Sunday? I just want to get a snapshot of opinion. What is your opinion on the game at the weekend? And Neil Fish, while people are putting it in the live comments, Neil Fish says, I love that we've hyped Gomez for years and we will never get to see him play for United. I tweeted this today, Neil. Look, maybe Angel Gomez would flop, but you can't say he's a flop when he's not been given a chance. He had an amazing assist in midweek for the under-23s, and Nicky Butt, who runs all that, has spoken Angel Gomez up for ages. It is so wrong that Angel Gomez has not been given a chance and Pereira and Lingard have been given more lives than a cat's. It's not fair. And people say it's because he won't sign a contract. Lingard's not signed a new contract. This time last year, Andreas Pereira was in the last few, hadn't signed a contract, and we were playing him. Tahith Chong won't sign a contract and we're playing him. It's just not logical what's happened with Angel Gomez. It doesn't make any sense. And he has been for years. I mean, can you know, talk about Wayne Rooney. Can people not remember that we had that epic picture, the passing of the guard, Rooney coming off the pitch, Gomez coming on the pitch? That was under Mourinho. That was coming up for 3 years ago. 3 years ago in May, that picture, and we've still not seen him given any sort of chance. It's a real shame, and I don't get it. I don't get what he has done that he can't be given a chance, especially in a position where we've been crying out for something and we never gave him a go. I just don't understand it. I really don't. And I don't believe it's because of contracts. Zayn Miasi, Mark, Madrid might take Poch if they get him. Who will United take? I don't think that Zidane's going to leave Madrid. I think that they're going to win the... Madrid are going to win the La Liga, aren't they? Which they'll be very, very happy with. So I think Zidane will get another shot next year. I think he's been a bit unlucky with injury. Obviously, they're going to get knocked out by Man City, which will cause a problem. But I think, look, you never know with Real Madrid. They're stupid in relation to sacking people. But I don't think Zidane should be sacked because that squad needs a lot of work. Mane played for Poch as a winger at Southampton, so he had to use wingers out wide, says Anaban Batshuayi. Yep, fair enough. I'm just looking at a lot of people going 2-1 for United at the weekend. A few people saying 2-0. 6-1 to City, says Brian Foskett. Thanks for that. Gerard Kennedy says 4-0 to City. And we've got a few people going for a win as well. I'm really... look, Manchester Derby, it's exciting, isn't it? I don't know. I think the world at the moment, I don't know whether you feel it, I think society in general at the moment is a little bit on a downer. We've got this virus. I think people are just very uncertain about things because our season's not dead. Far from it. It's not where we want to be. We want to be in the latter stages of the Champions League and fighting for a title. We're doing a Poundland version. We're in the latter stages of the Europa League and we're fighting for 4th place. It's not where we want to be, but it's where we've been for the last few years and it's better than it's been in the last few years. So actually... all right, it's not where we want to be, but it's still a very exciting end to the season, and there's a lot on this game on Sunday. So I feel like the excitement for this game hasn't really took fire. I don't know why, and maybe it is the virus, maybe it is the uncertainty. I don't know. I don't feel that everyone's as excited about this game on Sunday as I am, and I don't really know why. Answers on a postcard or in the live comments. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be about the buzz around this game that there should be. It's not a dead ringer. It's not a Carabao Cup game. It's 3 massive points, and if we win, I tell you what, Ollie's right. If we win on Sunday, I fancy us to beat Spurs. 6 points from these 2 games again, and we got these 6 in December. We'll be bang on top 4. So massive game, massive motivation. I think the players are up for it, and hopefully we as fans will get up for it as well. Well, I think Smutty says we'll play with a back 8. I don't think that we will. I think we'll play with a back 5. As I predicted on the preview. You can check out the preview and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction comments on the homepage. I did that this morning. Make sure you're tuned in tomorrow morning, or you've subscribed with your notifications on for the chart show. One of my favourite shows of the week now, and a lot of people are liking it as well. So make sure you watch the chart show in the morning. All I can say is I've not filmed it yet, but I'm very excited about some of the movers, some of the new entries. And who could potentially number 1? Will it be Fred number 1 4 weeks in a row, or is someone going to dislodge him? We'll see tomorrow on the United Stand chart show tomorrow morning. I'll also be back live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with you all as well. So have a good evening, good start to your weekend. Really enjoy the Friday night show. Thanks for all your company again. And again, I just want to shout out for what I said at the start. There was some people in the live comments laughing about the fact that I admit I got bullied by girls. Like, why are we laughing about that in 2020? I mean, that was part of the problems why I sort of went into my own shell for 2 days and was really depressed. Because it's embarrassing for a man, isn't it? It's embarrassing. It's like domestic abuse of a man, isn't it? It's like there's a taboo around it. But the reality is, I didn't hit them back because you don't hit girls. And, you know, bullying's not something to be laughed at. So, again, shout out to the lad who knows, and anybody else who's a victim of it. The first step is to tell people about it, and the second step is to realise that you're not the person who's got something wrong with you. You're the victim of people who have something wrong with them. So talk up about it, and you know that's what this community is here to do. It's here to stop all that. And I think one of the positives that's come out of the incident that happened last night with Lingard, and what should have come out with the incident that happened with Pogba last summer, is that level of abuse is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, and it doesn't have place. You cannot say it to somebody's face like that. You can't do that. Social media, criticising a player's performance, that's going to be expected in an entertainment business, but not that level of abuse. It's disgusting. If we do intend to replace Ollie, why go for Poch? He bottled it so many times for Spurs. I think we should go for a proven manager just to earn the respect of players, Sancho and the like, says John Parashadam. I don't think that Pochettino's a bottler. I think he was an overachiever at Spurs. He took them to a Champions League final. He consistently got them top 4. They never really spent any money. I don't think Pochettino's a bottler. There's question marks about whether he can get over the line to win a trophy. I wouldn't call him a bottler. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video if you are watching, and I will see you in the morning for the United Stand chart show. Oh, I can't wait. I really can't. Pot pickers. See you soon.